Good morning. Okay, I was looking in today's journal number 5. We're still in 1997. And I saw a page that had today's homeowner on the top of the page. And I was reminded about how the genesis of so many things that I've done have started with an intuition. I've had an intuition about something, a curiosity, and I've pursued it. And that, I look back, before I tell you about today's homeowner, I was thinking about one of the things that I was able to pursue, something that I read. I read somewhere that public access cable was mandated to provide airtime to the community. And I thought to myself, this was back in Halton Hills, I thought to myself, I've been doing these homebuyer workshops at the library. I was running ads. I was bringing people to the library and doing a whole homebuyer workshop for first-time buyers. And I thought to myself, what if I could get that on TV, where I could do a special 30-minute program about buying your first home? And so I just called. Sometimes the best thing you can do to pursue an intuition is just throw your hat over the fence, make a call, talk to somebody. So I called the cable, Colton Cable, and I found out that yes, you can put a show. I presented the idea of what I wanted to do, and he said, that sounds like a really good idea. They've got a studio, they've got cameramen, they've got the whole thing, a professional broadcast center for you. So I went to work and I created what was basically an infomercial for my homebuyer workshop that I called 6 Steps to Home Ownership. And it was a 30 minutes adapted from my live workshops. And I created a workbook called 6 Steps to Home Ownership that I would offer to people who were watching the show. I modeled the infomercials that were becoming popular in the late 80s and 90s. And so at the 10-minute mark, I would, go through some of the 6 steps, and then I would say, and you don't need to worry about taking notes or doing anything. I've got a whole workbook for you right here called 6 Steps to Homeownership, and if you call this number for a free recorded message, I'll send you the 6 Steps to Homeownership booklet. And so for $500, I had to pay. The only thing I had to pay for was the editing for the video. I had a friend write a theme song for it who was a professional musician. Shout out Tim Alberts. And it was a big hit. For $500, I got this on the air 12 times. It was twice a month for a year, on the first and third Thursdays of the month, right as a lead-in to must-see TV. This was a time when Seinfeld and Cheers and these shows were on the air. So I could run this TV show on the air, and people would call, and every time it aired, people would call and ask for the book, the 6 Steps to Homeownership book. And I would make sure that I set up a listing appointment whenever I could for that Thursday that my show was airing. And I would set it for 7 p.m. The show came on at 7:30. And so I would be in the house with somebody talking about selling their house. They'd show me around the house. We'd sit down, we'd start talking about marketing. And then I would say to them, can we go into the living room or the TV room? And I would say, while I'm in here talking to you about selling your house, I'm also out there trying to find a buyer for your house. I've already been looking for the buyer for your house. And we went in, we'd turn on the TV, and there I am on TV while I'm standing in their living room. And it was a wow moment for people. Like, it was so funny to see their reaction when I'm standing there with them, but I'm also up on the screen. And then I would call and let them listen to the recordings of the people who were calling to ask for the 6 steps to home ownership. And they immediately would see that I have a system for finding buyers. And at that point, I'd already had, over 100 people who had called for the 6 steps to home ownership. And I would always tell them that this is the pool of people that we are working with. And I'd show them my guide to Halton Hills, how I had already been looking for the buyer for their house for 180 days. I never, ever lost a listing that I did on that first and third Thursdays, because I was completely focused on showing them how I was the most likely one to find the buyer for their home. And that happened because I followed my intuition. I had this and I pursued it. I wonder what the value of that would have been for 2 airings, 30 minutes at a time for an entire year. It's kind of a crazy thing to think of at a time when there's no YouTube. There's no way for normal people to get videos accessed to people. The second year after this, I set up a relationship with a pizza company that anybody that lived in any of the apartment complexes that ordered a pizza, also I would deliver a video with the pizza of the 6 steps to home ownership. So the leverage of trusting my intuition, following through on it, creating something that was an asset that I could use again and again, was the establishing of a pattern. And I see it here. And tomorrow, I'm going to tell you about the Today's Homeowner program that I was able to create because I saw a magazine randomly on a flight from Toronto to Ottawa. So tune in tomorrow, and I'll tell you all about that. I got a funny email the other day from Rick. It says, Dean, question. Are you saying you can teach me to make fat stacks by hanging out at a pub, drinking coffee like you? And I laughed to myself because I was thinking, yes, I can do that. That's what I do. Is the funny thing, what I really realized is that every idea that I've had, every dollar that I've made over the last 30 years has gone through my brain, through my pen, onto a piece of paper in my journal before it went out into the real world. And if I can turn people on to that activity as a driver for what to do, what to think about, what to ask yourself to draw out, what the next most valuable action is for you, and how to find the most profitable things that you can install in your business, I'm all for it. So this Friday at 1 p.m., I'm going to do, for the first time, a 50-minute profit finder workshop. And you're going to join me live on Zoom, and we're going to go through a 50-minute exercise. Bring your pen, bring a notebook or piece of paper, and I'm going to guide you through a thinking process that will help you identify where the lowest hanging fruit is in your business, and maybe some fruit that you didn't even know was there, but I'm going to show you where to look for it. So it's free. It's for you. It's Friday at 1 p.m. this Friday. Just watch, go to, what did we call the website, Josh?
50-minute profit finder.
Just go to 50minuteprofitfinder.com and I'll get you all the details, and hopefully you can join us then Friday, 1 p.m.